Hello everyone. Welcome back to Twilight Tales, where shadows come alive and your dreams might just turn into nightmares. If you like what you hear, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who's brave enough to listen in the dark. Now turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and remember, some paths are meant to stay lost. Tonight's tale is called The Lost Path in the Forest. He was never supposed to be there. Evan hadn't seen his cousin Daniel in over a year. They used to be close, growing up together, sneaking into their grandfather's basement, telling ghost stories under blankets with flashlights. But life got in the way. College, work, distance. And then came the message. Let's go hiking, like old times. Just us. No phones, no maps. Just the trail and our instincts. It sounded ridiculous, dangerous even. But Evan said yes. Maybe he missed Daniel more than he realized. Maybe he missed the way things used to be. Simple, raw, a little wild. So he packed a bag, left his phone in the glove compartment, and followed Daniel into the heart of Blackpine Forest. The locals called it cursed. Tourists rarely visited. And the deeper they walked, the more Evan began to understand why. It was too quiet, not peaceful, not serene. Dead quiet, no rustle of birds. No insects chirping, not even the wind dared touch the trees. It was like walking into a painting, still frozen, unreal. We're off trail now, Daniel said after a couple hours pushing through thick brush. Evan hesitated. You said we'd follow the old hiking loop. Daniel gave him a strange smile. Change of plans, I found something. He didn't elaborate, just kept walking. And something about that smile. It wasn't the one Evan remembered from their childhood. Still, he followed. Maybe it was loyalty. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something else. They pushed deeper into the forest, stepping over moss-covered stones, ducking under low-hanging limbs like skeletal arms. The daylight thinned behind the tall trees, and the shadows began to stretch like hungry fingers. You sure we're not lost? Evan asked around late afternoon. The forest looked the same in every direction. No markers, no path, just trees and silence, and a strange, heavy feeling in the air, like something watching. Daniel looked back. We're not lost. We're close. To what? You'll see. It wasn't an answer. But Evan let it go. They stopped at a small clearing just before dusk. A crooked tree stood in the center, split at the base like it had been struck by lightning. But there was no burn, no scorch, no decay. The split ran unnaturally smooth, like something sharp had sliced it clean. Daniel dropped his pack. We camp here. Evan frowned. Why here? Daniel knelt beside the split tree. His hands trembled slightly as he brushed the bark. It's a doorway. Or it used to be. Evan's skin prickled. A doorway to what? Daniel looked up at him and smiled. To her. Evan didn't sleep much that night. Every sound, or lack of it, tightened his nerves like piano wire. Daniel slept like a rock, curled near the split tree, muttering in his sleep. Around 2 a.m., Evan heard whispering. It wasn't Daniel. The voice came from deeper in the woods, female, soft, singing. He sat up, heart hammering. The moonlight cast long, broken shadows through the trees. The forest around them moved, not with wind, but with presence. Shapes flickered at the corners of Evan's vision. A figure, standing far between the trees. Then gone. He shook Daniel awake, but Daniel's eyes were already open. "I heard her," Evan whispered. Daniel nodded. "She knows you're here." "What the hell is going on?" Daniel didn't answer. He rose slowly, walked to the tree and placed both hands inside the split. Then he whispered something, in a language Evan didn't recognize. The bark pulsed in. Actually pulsed, like it was breathing, and then it opened. The tree opened, not outward, but inward, revealing a dark hollow that led somewhere deeper. A narrow passage of gnarled roots and earth and impossible blackness. Daniel looked back. "It'll close soon. We have to go." Evan didn't move. "What is that?" "She's waiting." "Who?" Daniel didn't answer. He stepped inside the tree and disappeared into the dark. Evan should have run. He should have turned and fled the forest, screaming, never looking back. But he followed. Because fear can be a chain, and family, even twisted, even cursed, is a strong one. The passage. Inside the tree was narrow and cold. The air smelled of wet dirt and something older, rot and iron and memory. Evan crawled on hands and knees, trying not to hyperventilate. The darkness pressed against him like a physical thing. And just when he thought he'd be buried alive, he fell through and landed in silence. He was standing now, in a forest, much like the one he'd left, but wrong. Everything was inverted. The trees twisted upward like frozen flames. The sky above was black, no stars. The ground pulsed faintly with a dim red glow, and the air whispered. Daniel stood ahead, his back to Evan. "She doesn't talk to everyone," he said quietly, "but she'll talk to you." "Who is she?" Daniel turned, and his eyes were bleeding. "She's the forest," he said. "The real one. The one behind the trees." "Daniel, we need to leave, now. You don't leave her." He smiled with cracked lips. "You become hers." Evan turned to run, but the tree, the passage, the doorway, was gone. Just more black woods, a labyrinth of twisted shadows, and silent hunger. And then he heard it, the voice, soft, sweet, ancient. "Stay." It echoed in his mind, not his ears. "Don't be afraid." Shapes moved through the woods. Pale figures. Children, maybe. Or what used to be children. Their eyes were hollow, mouths sewn shut with thin black thread. They reached for him with long fingers that split into roots at the ends. Evan ran. He didn't know where he was going. Every direction looked the same. Trees that bled when he brushed past them. Ground that crunched like bones. He screamed Daniel's name, over and over, but no answer came. Only the voice. "You took the path. Now be the path." He stumbled into another clearing. A mirror stood in the center, tall, framed in vines. It showed not his reflection, but memories. Him and Daniel as kids, running through their backyard, digging in the dirt, telling stories under a blanket, happy, whole. He reached out, and a hand grabbed his wrist, from inside the mirror. Daniel, but not his Daniel. This version was pale, hollow. His mouth stretched unnaturally wide, filled with bark and teeth. He pulled. Evan screamed. The mirror cracked. The forest laughed. He fled again, running until his legs gave out, until the whispers turned to screams, until the sky wept blood and the trees began to move, dragging themselves toward him like predators. And just when he collapsed, gasping, broken, ready to die, she appeared. Tall, elegant, dressed in shadow and fog. Her face was a blur, like it couldn't decide what to be. "You followed the wrong path," she whispered. Evan shook. "I didn't mean to. I didn't. But you came," she interrupted. "You crossed. That's all I need." He sobbed. "Please, let me go." Her face leaned closer. "You already are," she said. Then she opened her mouth, and inside was the forest, screaming. Everything went black. Evan woke up in his own bed, drenched in sweat, gasping. He shot up, grabbed his phone. It was morning. Notifications buzzed, emails, missed calls. A full day had passed. Was it a dream? A hallucination? Then he looked at his hands. His nails were filled with dirt, and bark was embedded in the creases of his palms. He stumbled to the window. Outside, in the street below, Daniel stood, smiling, bleeding from the eyes, and in his hand was a broken compass, Evan's old one, the one he lost in the woods. Daniel held it up and mouthed the words, "Come back." The shadows behind him shifted. The forest was closer now. It was growing, spreading, waiting. And Evan realized, some paths don't lead you home, they become your home, and some doors, once opened, never close if you made it this far. Thank you for listening to Twilight Tales. If your feet feel cold, it's just the roots saying hello. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who enjoys a little horror before bed. Until next time, don't follow the path, let it follow you. Good night.